All right, here we go. I have no idea how this is going to go. I tried it on a couple seconds ago and the stream wasn't working. I'm going to pull up my phone and we're going to do a Q&A while I'm on the exercise bike. If you can hear me, please let me know. If you can't hear me, please let me know. I want to make sure all the systems are working. We're going to get this going here. All right, we're on. What's going on, everybody? Let's see if I can maintain a professional stance while I'm on this bike. Okay, I'm glad you can hear me. Good. How you doing, Longstone? What's going on, Bruce? Good to see you. You know, I was thinking today, I was like, I really want to stream, but I have so much to do, and I need to exercise. And the part of me, you could say the athlete in me, that was like, I really need to exercise, was at war with the podcast creator in me. And they came up with a brilliant compromise. They said, well, we were going to do a stream while you're exercising. What's up, Daniel? It's good to see you too, Bruce. Really good. So let's see if I can maintain this. You know, going to keep my heart rate up. Can't cheap out on this, but I also got to answer questions. So it's a good way to test my mind. Can I think clearly while I'm exerting my body? We'll see. Bruce was just doing push-ups. That's awesome. What's going on, Kathanka? Kathanka the White. Kathanka. I saw you on Mercury stream. I don't know if I'm pronouncing what your name is correctly, but I saw you on Mercury stream the other day, so welcome to the channel. Bruce says, was just doing push-ups. Flatmate and I were challenging each other. Push-ups are awesome. Longstone says, Point Blank Simulator has finally launched. Awesome. I'd love to learn more about that. So, what do you want to talk about today? I got to have some topics to chew on while I'm on this bike. I wish I had music. Should have thought of that before. If you have a bike, get on it, everybody. Daniel says, I got one stationary bike too. They are great bikes, but painful to sit on after a while. You know, I just got this bike. It's got a nice, cushy seat, and I don't find it painful. But yes, some bikes have very uncomfortable seats, and it's a pain in the ass. Sam says, hey, from Ireland. Hey, Sam. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Ireland sounds amazing. I've always wanted to visit there. Sam says, do you have any particular health and fitness goals? What's your diet like? Yeah, so I exercise regularly. My health and fitness goals are basically to stay in good shape. I don't need to be the strongest guy. I don't need to be the fastest guy. I just want to be in good shape and take good care of my body. So I do cardio 3 or 4 times a week, and I lift weights 3 or 4 times a week. The one area that I need to work on more is my stretching. Oftentimes I skimp out on my stretching because I get a little bit impatient. And I know that in order to take the best care of my body, I need to be flexible. And it will also help prevent injuries from lifting and running. I do a lot of trail running outdoors, snowing outside, so that's why I'm inside. I also do mountain biking. Exercise and outdoor activity is probably one of the most important parts of my life because psychologically, it's what keeps me sane. I find for me, when I don't exercise, my sense of mental, excuse me, sorry, that was a little loud. My sense of mental health is a lot lower, meaning I tend to go a little more stir crazy, and I tend to feel more irritable. And I find that when I exercise, I drain a lot of that excess energy out of my body, and I'm able to focus on my work a lot more. And I'm also able to meditate and clear my mind. And I just feel overall more positive emotion. So those are kind of my goals. I would like to get a little stronger physically. So I'm working on lifting a little more right now. Obviously the gyms are closed, so I'm just using some of the weight equipment I have here, which is not nearly what the gym has, but it's enough to at least keep going. A lot of people don't know though, like push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, air squats. I mean, those are great ways to stay in shape, and they work just as well sometimes as going to the gym, even though it's a different style of fitness. My diet, I try to eat a whole foods diet, healthy food, no junk, no cane sugar, super processed foods, lots of paleo stuff, so vegetables, meats, some healthy grains, and every once in a while I enjoy some like cacao chocolate or some treats like that, but I stay away from cane sugar as much as I can and other processed foods. And I fast. I tend to fast usually 5 days a week or so. I'll do like an 18 or 20-hour fast, sometimes a little longer. And I give myself a couple days a week to just eat a normal 3 meals a day, because I find that my body just needs that time to switch things up with my diet. So yeah, what do we got? 8 people here. Welcome everybody. Get on your exercise bikes if you have them. Send me your questions. I'm just doing this for fun. I don't have a particular agenda. I know this is kind of ridiculous and goofy, but that's all part of the fun. Being a little ridiculous and goofy. So let's see what we got going on here. I'm waiting for questions or comments. While I'm waiting for someone to say something, will give me some time to get my heart rate up. What are you guys working on? Oh, great question, Bruce. Bruce says, what's your thoughts on Slavoj Zizek? I don't know if I pronounced his first name right, but Zizek, I know him from the debate with Jordan Peterson. So my first impressions before that debate were that he was like a communist that hated Jordan Peterson. Then during the debate, I found that he was a lot more intelligent than my preconceived notions had painted him as. I think because the way it was covered by certain YouTube channels, it was easy to think that Zizek was making a straw man out of Peterson and was just kind of shitting all over Peterson. But I was actually pretty impressed with his range, intellectual range, and his thought process. I don't really know that much more about him. I thought he did a good job in the discussion with Peterson, and it seemed to me like they had a lot more to agree about than to disagree about. I don't really know what his political allegiance is very well, other than he seems to have some socialist and communist ideas. I don't know about any of that. I just know what I'm going off with the debate. So, yeah. I thought he was cool, and I'd love to learn more about him. I thought Peterson was it was funny because he was kind of prepared for a different debate than the one he walked into. You know, he came in with this full-scale attack against Marxism, and Zizek circumvented that attack and didn't even really address it fully. He just moved on to things that he wanted to talk about. So Peterson kind of was in a weird situation where he came in talking about Marxism, but Zizek wasn't really there to talk about the same things. And since Peterson was the first speaker, he had the first 30-minute slot, if I remember correctly. It made him look a little bit off balance. And I don't think that's at any fault of anyone's. It was just kind of maybe a miscommunication. So I would say the blame should be on everybody because they didn't prepare the ground for the dialectical process beforehand to know what to expect. And you walking in and people are, you know, paying money to see something, expecting it, and it was still worth it, but it just wasn't. You know, I would say they could have prepared better. Hey, Michael, good to see you. I'm streaming on the exercise bike just to be weird and goofy, but also because I couldn't decide between streaming or exercising, and I have a limited amount of time today. So that's why I'm doing this live, making a compromise. Grizz says, how do you feel about taking mind-altering substances? And what made you think about talking while exercising on camera? Well, I kind of just said it. I said it at the beginning of the stream. I'll say it one more time. Okay, 2 sub-personalities. I have an athlete, and I have a creator that likes doing podcasts and YouTube. I have a limited amount of time on my schedule today. Athlete says, I need to work out. I need to exercise. This is my time. Creator says, no. This is my time. And we need to make some content. Creative solution is the inner goofball in me says, I've got perfect compromise. We're going to go live on the bike. And so here we are. And it's just an interesting experiment. We were talking about Maryland asks what Peterson debate was being discussed. We were talking about the Zizek Peterson debate. Okay. So Bruce says, oh wait, no, I'm way up. I'm behind. I have to go back up. Bruce says, should have been planned out that way, perhaps, talking about the debate. Michael says, Zizek is first and foremost a provocateur. Yeah, maybe that's the case. I don't know him well enough. I trust your word on it. I would like to learn more about him. If anything, he's intellectually captivating. If nothing else. Shane says, he's one of the most original guys I've come across. More Hegelian than anything. Yeah, I remember him saying that in the debate, Shane. Peterson came in blazing and then just did his job before they moved on to other things. Yes. Britt says, punishing your indecision. Interesting. I'm not punishing. That's not right. Here's what I'm doing. I'm compromising. My athlete's happy. My creator's happy. That was no punishment involved. That's a compromise. So, whatever part of you thinks of it as a punishment, that's what I want to know, because I don't. Thanks for your comment, brother. Bruce says, have you seen the movie They Live? No. Oh, somebody asked me about mind-altering substances. Grizz did. I got to get back to that. Okay, mind-altering substances. What do I know about them? Well, I wouldn't be any expert, but I got into drugs young and drinking young. Around 12, I started very young, and I developed a bit of a behavioral issue and an addiction that brought on some consequences from my family. And as you know, Grizz, and so I've been sober off any substances besides caffeine and tobacco for 10 years. Just about 9, almost 10 years. Like 9 and a little over 9.5, actually, to be precise. So I enjoy my sobriety and I get a lot out of it. But I also have no problem with people who take psychedelics or take, that smoke cannabis. Obviously, there's certain drugs that you wouldn't advise anybody to take, but I think they can be useful as far as I've heard from lots of friends, family. I have family who's taken ayahuasca. I have family who's, or friends who have done all range of things, and very beneficial from what I hear. It's good to open up your mind. People say that it was the most effective intervention for creating a long-term switch in their attitude, in their outlook on life. So, it's like this. It's like you can use it as a tool, but then it's up to you to figure out how to make it real in your everyday life. Insight is only half the work. Anybody can have an insight. Anybody can have a realization. Anybody can trip balls and see the universe. But not everybody can figure out, what does that mean for me on a day-to-day basis? What does that mean for me? How I'm going to live my routine? How I'm going to treat other people? That's where the rubber meets the road. So it's about taking insights and turning them into actions. And if you can do that, then I'm all for it, without being dependent on the substance for the insights. I know a lot of people who they call the psychedelic substances, ayahuasca, etc., medicine. And they say, well, I need this medicine. I take this medicine 3 times a week. And I'm a pretty open-minded guy. However, to me, that seems no longer like medicine. That seems like a dependency and a crutch that is now a place that you have to rely on for a sense of connection and purpose. So I don't advocate for that. Okay, let's keep going here. Sal, it's so good to see you. I miss your art, and I miss seeing you on live streams. So it's so good. To see you. Did I take an Adderall? Loft says. No, dude. This is like my inner beast. I didn't take an Adderall. This is my inner beast coming out and exercising. This is a side of me that comes out when I have to unleash the primitive athlete within. By the way, I quit drinking caffeine about 2.5, 3 months ago, and I was really drinking a lot of coffee. I weaned myself off for about a week, and then I went straight off of it. It took me a couple weeks to get used to it. It was hard, Grizz. It was hard. I know you drink a lot of coffee. It was hard. So I did that. I really liked that I did it because I've been drinking coffee nonstop for like 8 years. So it was fantastic to get off of it. Now I did a couple months without anything. Now I'm just drinking decaf in the mornings. And I can't tell you, it just feels freeing to wake up in the morning and know that I don't need anything to be okay. However, I love the taste of coffee. So that decaf is giving me the flavor I need, and it helps me feel comfortable. But it's cool to know that I don't really need it. So that's been fantastic. Hey, welcome everybody just joining. Q&A on the bike. Whew. I got to read these questions. I'm missing some things. Oh, man. Whew. This is not easy. This is an exercise in self-discipline. Whew. Okay. Nolan, what food dishes are your favorite? Okay. My favorite thing to eat is a burrito. Like a big ass Mexican burrito. Problem is that I can't really do that because I gain too much weight. So I don't really let myself have burritos. I do let myself have corn shell tacos. I love myself some tacos. You know, really, anything that has pork in it I'm a fan. Pork ribs, pork stir fry, whatever. Pork chops. Just a fatty taste of pork. It's just so good. You know what I mean? I know it's not the healthiest meat, but it's one of the tastiest. Obviously, a good prime rib is way up there on my list of things to eat. So, I got a friend who's vegan, and I don't even talk about meat around him because I'm about to get the vegan slap down if I say it. So, he's an awesome guy. He's one of my closest friends, but you know, you can only talk about meat with certain people. I hope you're some of them. Okay. Shane says this is great. I'm glad you think so. Okay. Chris says I'm grinning ear to ear. Bruce says Slavoj Zizek introduced the re-release of They Live on Netflix. That's when I was introduced to him. Happy movie, highly recommended. Oh, cool. Okay. Michael says Shane, in a way, he's paradox like Milo. Yugoslavian communism was moving away from orthodox Marxism. Zizek tends to favor a blank slate argument. Oh shit, man, I can't get on board with blank slate. You guys know that. I just believe in genetics too much. But you know, if Zizek wants to go against the research and he has good reasons to do so, I'm open-minded. Anyways, let's not dwell there. Otherwise, the challenger in me will come out and take the stream over, and then I'll be kicking myself later. I'll be like, man, I just wanted to love these people and hang out and have fun, and then I go on a fucking rampage against an idea. So, not today, my friend. Not today. Okay. Chris says, just to be clear, what you're witnessing, folks, is a complete sober idea. That's hilarious. That's funny, man. Shane says, how's your inner athlete feeling at the moment? Your inner goofball. Okay. Athlete, my inner athlete is pumped. In fact, he's ready to take this exercise to the next level. Inner goofball, dude, I'm having a blast. I haven't been this goofy in days. Sometimes I get this goofy around my girl, and we're super close, but she can't handle the full goof. It's too much. Just imagine this, fucking 3 hours of it. And then eventually, dude, just shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. We're good. We got our dose. So, I gotta channel it. Maybe I should channel it into the channel more often to keep satisfied so it doesn't get pressed. Anyways. Okay, I'm way behind on these comments. He's making them clips right there, y'all. Oh, cool, I'm making some clips. Michael says, I also lean towards the blank slate. Even though I fully accept inherited traits, I do think I have a choice in determining who I want to be. Harris, Dennett, no good for me. Yeah, I definitely believe in free will. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Chris, Okay, Chris, I haven't seen you since the Sacred Flip. It's good to see you, man. I've missed hearing your voice. I've missed seeing you in the comments. And I've thought about you from time to time. And I think I was just hoping that you were doing okay. Because we know how life can be. So it's really good to see you. But yeah, Michael, it's just a matter of both and. It's not determinism or free will, it's both. And it's just about what valley of choice that you find yourself in. How many choices are available to you given your predetermined traits. So they both exist. It's not one way or the other. I think there's room for a nuanced conversation so we don't have to throw out the baby with the bathwater on either side. So that's all I'll say there for now. Longstone. Have kids and you'll see there's no such thing as a blank slate. Temperament is innate. Yes, Longstone. That is correct based on the research and based on the phenomenological experience of many. So we can share that research with people Longstone, to help spread awareness of the research. The question is, do you believe in the methodological research? I do. Some people don't believe the research is viable. I think there's overwhelming evidence that it is. It's a discussion that we can have. In any case, let's keep going. Glock likes his decaf. Sal says, haven't been ignoring you, just figuring out how to manage my time with my little one, getting more and more active and working with on my own practice. Oh no, I didn't think you were ignoring. I just figured you were busy. So, hey, it's great to see you. And hope you're doing okay being a mother. I don't know how you do it. Sounds like a big job. How's the art going, by the way? I gotta check out your website, see if you've updated it. I love the taste of coffee, Glass says. Absolutely. Coffee is amazing. I like my coffee black. I like the bitterness of it. Makes me a happy guy. I'm way behind. I'm coming. Keep them coming, I'm coming. You planning to do how many miles, says Daniel. And Chris says, that's the same idea behind astrology. He's connecting astrology with innate temperament. Yes, great point. There's a lot of correlations between those ideas as general concepts. How many miles am I going to do, Daniel? I don't have an agenda. I just go right now until my body tells me to stop. It's called trust. Something that we all need to learn. We always try to time ourselves. We always try to constrain ourselves. We always try to put ourselves in a framework because we don't trust ourselves. When we trust ourselves, we do things and we do them out of the pureness of the action. And then when we're done, we're done. A lot of times in order to discipline ourselves, we have to set up a framework of rules so that we follow those rules and that we make sure we meet our minimum requirements. That's an important phase. But there becomes a point in psychological growth with different things that we're learning to do where the framework is no longer what you need because it's a pure aspect of your own manifestation as a human being. I still need frameworks in certain parts of my life. I still need these guidelines. However, in other areas where I develop a sense of trust, I transcend the need for guidelines and I move into a space of flow. And that's where I'm at right now, brother. And that's where life's all about. Okay. Oh, we've got some conspiracy theories going. Bruce says, I agree. Peterson knew the epidemic was afoot. He's being blackmailed, likely. Theories, theories. Fascinating. I haven't seen any evidence for that. If you have any, I'm interested. I'm always curious in theories. Bruce says, now I want a burrito. Yeah, man, burritos. Amazing. What do you think about Dr. Timothy Leary? Chris says. Okay, well, here's a good little part of my story that a lot of you don't know. I'm a huge fan of Ram Dass, who recently passed. When I was first getting into spirituality in my early 20s, I would listen to Ram Dass for hours and hours, kind of like some of us have listened to Jordan Peterson for hours and hours. And Ram Dass clearly was an advocate of Leary's, a friend. They worked together, a colleague is a good word for it. And they did a lot of psychedelics together. And it's not, to me, I think Leary was he was a pioneer of the psychedelic movement. And he was also a pioneer of the radical freedom that it took to go against the institutional norms and try something radically or very different. And so it took a lot of courage for Leary and Albert to put their Harvard jobs at stake and begin experimenting with consciousness, because they were phenomenologically wanting to understand what is life. And what better way to understand what is life than experimentation? And then obviously Ram Dass went to India and met his guru, who he claimed was fully enlightened. I have no idea if that's true. I've never met anyone fully enlightened, but I do love me some Ram Dass, and I think he's a very good teacher. And what I like about him is that he always brings things back to his own vulnerability, and he never teaches from a pedestal. He teaches from sharing. This is who I am. This is what I've learned. He laughs at himself, and he's open-minded to all the possibilities of existence. So I like him a lot. So Leary, I don't know as well, but I know that he's a legend. Klaus says, my goal is to become a humanitarian. Don't get meat that I haven't personally killed. Goes well into my eventual homestead goal. I love that. Yeah, I think it's good to be conscious of how we affect the beings around us, right? We aren't alone on this planet, so there's something to be said about thinking about that. Okay. Chris says, I'm so going to juxtapose a clip of Bacon and Arnold Ziffel on my next stream. Bruce says, Jordan Peterson is a Timothy Leary predecessor. Longstone says, astrology has zero grounding in reality. Personality temperament is grounded in psychometrics, neurochemistry. Yeah, I mean, astrology is not like a falsifiable thing. It's more of a metaphorical lens that some people, actually, I know a lot of people who think astrology is a good tool to use to kind of gauge a situation metaphorically. Like what are the qualities of a situation? I gotta be honest, I've never fallen into a mindset of astrology. I read a lot of Jung, and he liked astrology as a metaphorical tool and alchemy and things like that. A lot of people I respect as smart individuals use astrology as a way of adding insight into their lives. Let's just say, I don't know. I'm on the fence. I do believe in psychometrics. I do believe in such thing as intuition and greater components of reality than we know. I just don't know how they work. So I'm not the guy to validate or invalidate the astrological personally. it's a discussion I'd like to have with some of you at some point, maybe in a Zoom call, because I'm really interested in learning more and pushing my thinking further. Griswold Grimm says, blank slate is just what the guys who didn't grok neuroplasticity were trying to get at. Chris says, good to see you as well. Thank you. Do I know any good resources or routines for stretching? Just like, I know some basic yoga routines, but I wouldn't be the best at describing that over this medium. Lots of stuff you can find online though. Just look up little 10-minute yoga routines. It's a great way to stretch. Whew. Shane's doing push-ups. Let's go. Let's go, Shane. Woo! Get it. All right. Oh, man. These comments are amazing. I've got plenty of stuff to talk about. You are all the best. Legends. I'm still way up here, aren't I? Self-realization, Sally says. Michael pointed you into Tom Merrick's channel. Excellent stretching and calisthenics. That's fantastic. Go do that. Instead of taking my suggestion, take his. Sounds like he knows what he's talking about. Sal says, self-realization series should be done late May, early June timeframe. I'll link it to the Discord when it is. I will relate it to the Sorting Myself Out channel immensely. Awesome. Well, I love your art, and I can't wait to see it. Longstone says, man, I'm sweating fucking buckets. Man. Longstone says, I'm not advocating determinism. Temperament will set the foundation you have to work on. Most people don't live outside their default mode network, and that is stagnant. Yes, well, most people don't live soul-directed lives. They don't introspect, they don't reflect, and so they default to automatic pathways because of the failure to introspect and actually take responsibility for your actions and realize your own free will. So yes, that's absolutely an issue with a lot of people. I agree. Sal says, Peterson is going to come back like Gandalf the White and join Eric Weinstein for some type of epic last battle against the SJW professors. That's a funny analogy. That story of Gandalf, his fall to the Balrog, and his subsequent rising up as the White, it's one of my favorite things in film. And it's so filled with symbolism and beauty. Gandalf is probably, without a doubt, definitely my favorite movie character of all time. My favorite fictional character of all time. He's just such a fantastic model for mentoring, and I love it. There's variability with inheritance. Yes. I'm going to scroll down a little bit here because I want to see here we go. Here we go. Okay, so I wasn't that far behind. What's going on, everybody who just joined? Thanks for being here. All right, so my phone's getting so filled with sweat that it's hard to scroll. It's like my finger is slipping. How long have I been doing this, by the way? I don't have a timer going here. I'm curious. Okay, so boom. Olaf says astrology is unfalsifiable, but fuck it if it isn't a guilty pleasure. Well, yeah, and it's okay to have that. Yeah, I just don't know enough about astrology, like the inner workings of it, to really comment at it to a profound extent. Like I can give you I think that a lot of our historical ways of thinking about the psyche were preliminary intuitions for scientific information that we didn't have access to. So to understand, like, we make these intuitive leaps as a species, and we test things about reality based on these intuitive frameworks. And a lot of times, those leaps lead to scientific advancements that are actually really profound. Now, I'm not the kind of guy that's like, everything's about science. There's nothing to spirituality. That's all bullshit in my opinion, because science tells us a lot about the objective world and what can be measured, and it also gives us insight into our phenomenological experience, and it doesn't dictate our phenomenological experience. So we have to be both scientists and phenomenological philosophers that deal with life on the basis of what's happening in the present moment and how we experience meaning, purpose, metaphor. So there's a lot of things that aren't falsifiable that I use in my intuitive landscape as guideposts towards meaning. We have, since the Cartesian split, where Descartes made the subject-object delineation very clear, and throughout our history, we have gotten further away from the phenomenological imagined reality where the trees, the animals, the people around us were all part of this mythopoetic story. And you could tell yourself, sure, there's no way that mythopoetic story is actually real. But then again, what do you mean by actually real? Because it's psychologically salient as a way of navigating reality. So right now we're in a really hard situation because two things are true and they contradict each other almost entirely. One thing that's true is that science measures things in the objective world way better than anything we've ever had. And it tells us more about that world than anything we've ever had access to. And so it's a very overwhelming and powerful way of seeing things. On the other hand, this is equally true. Our phenomenological experience tells us more about what is meaningful and about what we care about and what we fear than science does. So are we at an impasse, or have we simply failed to reconcile this opposition in our modern times? And you have people like John Vervaeke, Peterson, some of the people over at Rebel Wisdom, a lot of Ken Wilber, a lot of interdisciplinary thinkers who are trying to bridge this gap that's been created, this chasm that led Nietzsche to declare that God is dead. So that's where I'm at. And we're trying to figure it out. Whew. Bruce says we must reconcile. Absolutely. I agree. Oh. All right. Chris says, please give this a thumbs up. Thank you, Chris. Here, I get to wipe this off. It's getting sweat all over it. Okay, so I lost some people with that last one. That's for damn sure. It's hard when you get into those dense topics to keep everybody on board, but you got to go there. You got to go there at the risk of losing some people's attention, because these are the questions that matter. Okay. Glass says, I'm a Pisces sun, Sagittarius moon, Libra rising, aka secretly sensitive, but kind of a prick. And that looked like my life was put together. Longstone says, on point with precursors and analogs, have to jet and fix the euthanasia tent down at Vet Clinic. All right, good to see you, Longstone. Anderson says, Mike Anderson says, especially when you're out of breath. Yeah, that'll do it. But, oh my God, it's snowing out right now. I wish you could see it. It's beautiful. Is it snowing anywhere else where you're at? Here we go. We've got Chris. The phenomenon of synchronicity, I would think, falls under this category. Just because you can't present something with scientific claims doesn't necessarily mean it's not true. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. Let's see what else we got here. I hate social media says, I missed my bike, but I gave it away because I thought it was bad luck, LOL. I feel dumb now. Why did you think it was bad luck? Oops, I accidentally deleted your message, Bruce, and I did not mean to do that. You said no snow here. You didn't lose me. I casted you to my TV. Oh, cool. I'm glad I didn't lose you. I'm going to tune out before the stroke. Have a good one. Have a good day, guys. Riz. See you, brother. Maryland Patriot says, bought to put this college work off until later. School is clearly in session. That's hilarious. Yeah. School is in session. Okay, what else did I miss? So Bruce says everything is subjective, and then Michael says everything is objective. The only subjectivity is our capacity to apprehend what is true and what is real. Yes, that is ultimately on the most meta level. That's absolutely right, because the only thing that can be true is just what is. There is no is not, right? It only is what it is. It's just the is not is what we fail to understand properly. So yeah, ultimately in the grand analysis, that's got to be right, Michael. And that's a very meta framework going up to the highest level. Sal says push-ups and sit-ups feel good. Oops. I gotta wipe this off again. It's getting some crazy. Oops. Bruce, now I have you up for 300 seconds. My sweat is, sorry guys. My sweat is like dropping on my phone and causing me to put people on timeout. So it's like dropping off of my head and hitting my cell phone. Anyways, how's everyone? How you doing other than all this stuff we talked about? Whew. It's like doing mental exercise while doing physical exercise, trying to think about these complicated subjects while I'm sweating my ass off. Oh. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. It looks like you're timed out for a couple hundred more seconds. My bad. Welcome anyone who's just joining us. Glad to see you. Whew. If you're not exercising already, time to get started. Oh my God. I just checked how long I've been on this bike. I've been on here for 48 minutes. I'm proud. All right, I'm almost ready to get off. Okay. Let's push it. Let's push it for the last couple minutes. If you're not exercising and you want to be, do some burpees, do some push-ups, anything to get your blood flowing, get your heart racing. I've got a couple more minutes left on this bike, and I'm gonna push hard. Mike says, I wish I could use my bike. I have burst stits. Sorry, I'm not reading that right in my knees. Oh, sorry about your knees. All right. Sal says, fixed a rug, did some workout. Now I'm taking a nap. Much love. See you, Sal. Thanks for stopping in. This live stream on a bicycle has been an unexpected success. So, thanks for being here. Almost done. All right. I don't know how you all put up with that. Can you see me okay? Man. Gonna do some stretching. This phone is a pain in my fucking ass. I remember that, Chris. You used to go to the sauna and read Jung. I remember us talking about that. What a workout. I wish everybody had stationary bikes so that we could do these live streams and talk philosophy while on our bikes. Or like just do some sort of workout and like try to keep up with like the topics and chatting, and what a life. Hey, yeah, fridge in the living room. Well, actually, I need some water. This is actually my office, Levi. This is where I get everything done. Behind me is where you usually see me. That way is usually where you see me podcasting. I guess there's a joke because Mike says, I can see you just fine. And Chris says, haha, Mike Anderson. I guess I'm too close to the screen or something. But seriously, talk about finding a niche. Live streams where you talk philosophy while you're exercising. I'd be surprised if anybody else has thought of that. Maryland Patriot says, I tried the bike thing, but it was so uncomfortable. I don't know how you did it that long. Practice. You know what I mean? It's like, unless you have a physical, a back issue or issues with your knees like Mike, it's just like anything. You don't start at 50 minutes on the bike or whatever I did. No, Michael, I saw sorry about that. Bruce and Michael, you should be able to comment now. I'm sorry that you got accidentally timed out. But Maryland, it's practice. You'd never start like I just did, right? If you're trying something new, you start with 10 minutes. You work your way up to 20 minutes. You work your way up to 25 minutes, and you practice it a few times a week. And before you know it, you can do it for an hour and a half, or whatever it is. So yeah, whatever time you manage to do today, fantastic job. And just work your way up. And again, some people have physical issues and their pain disables them from being able to do the same stuff. So you got to be aware of what your own personal limitations are. What have I been reading lately? Chris says, I have been reading Existence by Rollo May and Henry Ellenberger. That's great, Chris. That sounds really interesting. Here's what I'm reading. Guide to Psychoanalytic Developmental Theories by Bombo, Bendison, and Koch, learning about Freud and the development of psychoanalysis all the way up to contemporary times. And then The Complex Path of Transformation from Archetype to Ego. I'm reviewing this, Archetypes of the Collective Unconscious by Jung. And I've got some more books upstairs. I've always got a lot of books going at once. I finished Being in Time by Heidegger a couple months ago. That was a fantastic read. So I'm happy with that, and we're in online schooling right now in full force. So I've got plenty to keep myself busy. How's your school going, Chris? You could also. Oh, here we go. Mike Anderson says, if you can push past the burn of the first 15 minutes of biking, it gets a lot easier. You get that second wind. Don't want to do that on the first day, of course. Yeah, there's a wall that if you can push past, then you get a second wind of energy for sure. You just got to learn how to build your way up to it so you don't burn yourself out, or give yourself a headache or something like that. But yeah, there's no doubt you can push your. I mean, Chris knows. He's a military guy, ex-military guy. He knows all about pushing his body, and he knows. You get past those limitations, and you find parts of yourself that you didn't know were there that are capable of an extreme amount of force. Oh, I got you. Marilyn's saying, I didn't. You didn't mean that about the cardio. You just meant the seat's uncomfortable. I tried a few and I could never sit comfortably. Yeah. So my seat's, like I said earlier, my seat's just fine. So I did fine on the bike. Chris says, embrace the suck. Yeah, and that's what is that? Just a general military saying, or is that a specific branch of the military? I know it's in the military. I just didn't know if it was specific to one part of it. School's good, Chris says. I'll be starting my bachelor's this fall. Fantastic. Awesome. Well, thanks for being here, everybody. I really appreciate your time, and I just like catching up with you all and being around you and chatting it up. And I appreciate all the different opinions and views and questions that you brought to me today. It's always fun. Well, I hope you all have a fantastic day. Hit the like button. It helps the channel a lot. And you can subscribe, hit the notification bell. That also makes a big difference. And I'll be in touch. Feel free to leave a comment after this video is up if you have anything else you wanted to say. And yeah, Marilyn, I hope you catch the next one too. Good to see you too, Chris. I'll read this last comment and then I'll jet. Mike says, I've always had trouble studying at home. I've gotten like 5 math problems done this past week. Not sure how to focus. I lose interest and get bored so fast now. Yeah. The truth of the matter in my experience is when I want to do something, I do it. And when I don't want to do it, it's really hard for me to do it. And so I either have to figure out how to make myself want it, you know what I mean? Or else it's just an uphill battle. So for me, in my experience, the mind trick is figuring out, why am I doing this? It's like the Nietzsche saying, a man with a why can endure any how. So just take this with a grain of salt, Mike. I would venture to say that if you had a really deep, passionate purpose for doing those math problems, it'd be a lot easier to focus. And then if you can't find a deep, passionate purpose for someone, just as general advice to everybody, then that either means that there's something about you that you might want to consider reflecting on, about working on changing, or there's something about your experience, your environment, your life path. Maybe it's not the right one. and I'm not speaking this directly to you, Mike, just as general for people who struggle with their current occupation or current focus. Sometimes it can say a lot about who we are, where we need to be, where we don't need to be, or what we need to work on personally. And yeah, sometimes it's a lot harder for me to focus than others, especially during this time, this whole crazy time in the world. I've had to try extra hard to reinstate my purpose so that it's easier for me to focus. I love you all very much, and I hope you have a fantastic day once again.